Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are joining us from, and welcome to our IFBPW CSW Delegate Orientation hosted by your New York City UN reps. We're very excited to have you here with us today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Give me one moment here to pull up our slideshow. So we are going to go ahead and as a reminder, this is going to be recorded. So if anyone needs the link afterwards or the link to the recording afterwards, please let them know that this will be made available for any participants. So we will start off today by reading our collect. So Francesca Burak, our Vice President of Membership, if you would care to start us off with that. Thank you. Francesca, yeah, there you
Sorry,
go.
I didn't realize I was muted. Keep us, O God, from pettiness. Let us be large in thought, in word, in deed. May we put away all pretense and meet each other face to face without self-pity and without prejudice. May we never be hasty in judgment and always generous. Let us take time for all things. Make us to grow calm, serene, gentle. Teach us to put into action our better impulses, straightforward and unafraid. Grant that we may realize that it is the little things that create differences, that in the big things of life, we are at one. And may we strive to touch and to know the greatest common human heart of us all. And, O Lord God, let us forget not to be kind.
Thank you, Francesca. And did we have Diana on this morning, our International President, Diana Berrigan?
I think Diana is on a plane right now.
Okay, so change of plans. We will hear now from our International Vice President of United Nations. Please, Nalima, if you would.
Morning, good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of our international president, who's currently traveling right now, she said that she
Let's
will
go
be
ahead, Chris. Yeah.
please mute. Okay. She'll be there, but I think she's still traveling. As a first vice president of BBW International, I think this is our second CSW briefing that we are doing this year. Last year, it was very helpful to our BBW members. And this year, with the help of our UN representatives in New York, uh, you know, you will see that all the UN representatives who are part of the UN New York will be, doing this session to make sure that all our members are well aware before going to New York, whether it is the CSW or Leader Summit. So please make sure that we'll have the first session, which is all about briefing about everything related to the event. But later on in the second half, it will be about any queries that you have. So I look forward to a very fruitful meeting. And if you want to follow up on what the pre-briefing and debriefing was done, you can go to our BPW website, YouTube, where you can see all the videos of last year as well.
Recording in
Thank
progress.
you, Emily, for taking the lead this year, because as you all know that Emily is in the NGO CSW New York committee now, and she is doing an amazing job there as representing BPW International. So with this, Emily, I wish you all the best with the session, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nalima. And just a few Zoom housekeeping. If you could please mute yourself if you're not speaking so that we can avoid any background noises. And thank you so much. Now we are going to pass it on to, back to Francesca so that she can cover the Leader Summit and the 95th anniversary gala reception. So Francesca, please.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk about the Leaders Summit this year.
Hi, once again, if you are not speaking, if you could please just remain on mute. Thank you so much, Francesca. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I am so happy to talk about the Leaders Summit this year. We are in a new venue, and this is the new venue called Ease. It's very different than the Harmony Club. Unfortunately, they could not host us this year due to an error on their part. We had reserved the space, but there was a switch in management, and a few things got lost, including us. So I was able to find this space, thank goodness. And it's very modern, it's very tech. This is just one setup of a classroom style, but it is a really great venue. The content for the Leaders Summit this year is extraordinarily different. It is really focusing on a lot of interaction, small group work. There'll be a variety of themes based on our triennium theme. There will be some work on peace and women's roles in peace, and there'll be some networking and small group work on that. And excuse me. And the regions will be having their meetings during this time. On Friday night, all of the regions get together it's only open to participants of the Leaders Summit. There will be regional dinners. And then on the second day, we will continue with small group work. We will be discussing and working in small groups on conflict resolution and how to handle conflict resolution in your own clubs, regardless of whether you are an officer, an executive, a member. Everyone has a responsibility for all of the content that we will be discussing. And how do you step up and take your role in leading, regardless of whether or not you are part of an executive? Because each of us, as members of this organization, have a responsibility to speak up, be bold, be fearless, speak up, and do the right thing, is more or less what we'll be talking about. And how do you do that based on your culture and where you sit in the room? So that's basically it. The gala dinner will be the following evening on the 7th. It's open to everyone. It is a really beautiful private room we have upstairs at Anasi, which is not that far from the West Gate. It's on 60th and 3rd. We will have, very beautiful setup with our candlelighting ceremony, white tablecloths, you name it, we will have it. And I'm trying to find some Greek music so that we can do some dancing up there. So if you have any, please bring along your favorite, what's the word I'm looking for? Your favorite playbooks. And maybe we can use a few of yours. And that's about it. We will be having our candlelight ceremony. It's our 95th anniversary, so it's a gala dinner. Come dressed with your best. And in addition to that, we will be honoring Harriet Friedlander, who is a recent fellow for us, and we'll be talking about the Fellows Program. It's by nomination only, and it's based on you being a member of BPW. Some of them aren't, but your contribution to women's empowerment. Harriet's had a great career, both as an entrepreneur, as an influencer. She is now 95 years old, or was she 96 now? So we'll be honoring her, and the UN reps are always honored at this particular event. So if you have any questions about it, by the way, you can still register for both. I know that we said in one email that we were cutting off the registration on the 17th, but people have asked us to please let them register because there was some difficulty with money and money transfer. And we now have a credit card access thanks to past International President Dr. Yasmin, who has been working for months and months and months to get that for us. The process on everything we do is so long. And publicly thank Dr. Yasmin Darwich for all of your hard work in getting that for us. And that's about it. If you have any questions during the question and answer period to answer any of the questions, come to the gallery town 95th anniversary, and we have to celebrate. And this will be almost of the 90th year. So we're going to be living, and by the way, the first thing that I had in New York allowing us to use candlelighting ceremony. So no battery operated candles. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope to see you at the Lee Summit and at the gala dinner. Oh, regional gathering, New York, yes. Um, is this the regional gatherings that we're doing on the 6th? Europe has a place. Asia Pacific has a place. North America has a place. I have not heard back from Latin America or Africa. But if you're in either of those regions, please contact me and we will hook you up in another region if your region is not going to get. But I will be following up with those regional coordinators. So thank you for this opportunity to share this information. And I look forward to seeing you all in New York, my city.
Thank you, Francesca.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry. Can I mention, Emily, can I mention one more thing?
Please.
You know, when we set up for the Leaders Summit and the Leaders Summit, I want you to know that the price that's being charged is not the price that will cover all of the expenses for the Leaders Summit. BPW International provides for 50% of the cost for the Leaders Summit. So I wanted to bring that up so that you realize that although it looks like the regional, like the Leaders Summit is very expensive, we're in New York, and BPW is putting up half of that price. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Francesca. Next up, we have the mission of BPW International. As we all know, BPW International develops the business professional leadership potential of women at all levels through advocacy, education, mentoring, networking, skill building, and economic empowerment programs and projects around the world. This is our founder, Dr. Lena Madison Phillips. And we do that through many avenues, one of which being advocating at the United Nations with our consultative status. So, speaking of the CSW, the reason we're all here today is to learn what the CSW is. So, I am going to pass it over to the CSW expert here, Susan O'Malley, who is a previous co-chair of NGO CSW, or sorry, previous chair of NGO CSW and our lead UN rep here in New York City. Susan, do we have you with us today? Okay, I know she was having some issues getting in, so let me just double check. Susan, are you here today? Okay. Um, Nermeen, would you feel comfortable covering these until Susan's able to join us? I think she left her speaking notes in the
I would, I think, prefer that you do it since you're much more au fait with everything CSW being on the
I
NGO
don't
CSW.
I don't have access to the speaking notes while I'm presenting.
And how, okay, how do I get access to the
Okay,
speaking notes?
hold on. Let me see if I can sort this out for a second. Hold on.
My apologies, everyone. I would love to step in and help. I just cannot see anywhere on the.
That's okay. So, technology, right? It's a beautiful thing. So the Commission of the Status of Women is the principal global intergovernmental UN body exclusively dedicated to the promotion of gender equality. Since 1946, it has been the main international platform for governments to discuss women's empowerment. Each year, the Commission comes together for a 2-week session at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. There, all members of the United Nations can debate global standards on gender equality and women's empowerment. Thousands of activists from around the world join in too. During the 2 weeks, member state representatives from 193 countries negotiate an outcome document. The 45 members of the Commission can adopt the outcome document. The members represent all geographical regions of the world, and we will talk about the Bureau and what, or the Commission and what makes that up here in a moment. They're elected by UN member states at the Economic and Social Council, and the outcome document gives guidance to United Nations agencies and recommendations to all UN member states on how to push women's rights agenda forward. Okay. During the inaugural meetings of the United Nations General Assembly in London in February of 1946, Eleanor Roosevelt asked for more women in action. I think she famously told her husband to don't forget the women. So she was a true feminist. A few days later, a subcommission dedicated to the status of women was established under the Commission on Human Rights. In May 1946, oh, excuse me, one second. In May 1946, the first chairperson of the subcommission, Bodo Begtrup from Denmark, requested the Economic and Social Council in May 1946 for a change to full commission status. On the 21st of June 1946, the subcommission formally became the Commission on the Status of Women, or CSW, a full-fledged commission dedicated to ensuring women's equality and to promoting women's rights. CSW first met at Lake Success, New York in February of 1947. At that session, all of the 15 governments' representatives were women. This gave the commission a unique character as it was going to maintain throughout its history by gathering a majority of women delegates. In 1972, to mark its 25th anniversary, the commission recommended that 1975 be designated International Women's Year. CSW called for the organization of an international conference to coincide with the International Women's Year. This was approved by the General Assembly, and the World Conference of the International Women's Year was held in Mexico City in 1975. 133 governments participated in the conference, while for the first time, 6,000 representatives of NGOs attended a parallel forum, the International Women's Year Tribune. In the follow-up to the recommendation on the World Conference of the International Women's Year, the UN declared 1976 to 1985 the United Nations Decade for Women, Equality, Development, and Peace. A few other developments through that time was the Declaration of the Elimination of Violence Against Women was adopted by the General Assembly in December of 1993. In March 1994, a special rapporteur on violence against women, its causes and consequences was adopted with a mandate to investigate and report on all aspects of violence against women. During the 90s, a series of global conferences and summit meetings on critical aspects of development was held as a part of UN-led drive to establish an integrated global agenda for development. And of particular interest to gender equality and the empowerment of women were the 1992 Conference on Environment and Development and the 1993 World Conference on Human Rights. So we can see here the World Conferences on Women. They were a series of United Nations conferences that promote gender equality and women's rights. The goals of these conferences were to, oh, shoot. The goals of these conferences were to improve the status of women worldwide, to remove obstacles from women's participation in all spheres of life, to achieve gender equality in law and in practice, and to promote women's human rights. The outcomes of these conferences were the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action, which sets out an agenda for change in 12 critical areas. Very important documents. If you haven't familiarized yourself with those, please do. The introduction of the term gender mainstreaming and the consolidation of 5 decades of legal advances. The significance of the Beijing Conference. It was the largest meetings to promote women's rights ever held. It's considered the key global policy document on gender equality, and it's agenda for change that's still relevant today. I think we have members here that were present at that Beijing conference. So definitely a storied fight in the women's rights movement. And then moving into CSW today. CSW today is going through many changes, as we all know. In 1996, ECOSOC Resolution 1996/6 expanded the Commission's mandate to take a leading role in monitoring and reviewing progress and problems in the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action and the mainstreaming of gender perspectives in UN activities. Every year in March, representatives from member states gather at United Nations headquarters in New York to evaluate progress on gender equality, identify challenges, set global standards, and formulate concrete policies to promote gender equality and women's empowerment worldwide. During the Commission's annual 2-week session, representatives of UN member states, civil society organizations, and UN entities gather at UN headquarters in New York. Of the 45 members of the Commission, the geographic distribution is spread out. So we get 12 members from Africa, 11 from Asia, 9 from Latin America and the Caribbean, 8 from Western Europe and other states, and 4 from Eastern Europe. Members are elected to the Commission for a 4-year period. And ECOSOC refines the Commission's mandate from time to time. For example, the Sustainable Development Goals were launched in September 2015. CSW is mandated to oversee the implementation of Agenda 2030 as it pertains to women and girls through ECOSOC Resolution ERES 2016-2. So I really wish Susan had been here to talk with you about CSW, as again, she is the subject matter experts here. There is a lot of discussion about the future of CSW. I know it is no secret that there's lots of changes. There are funding shortfalls in with the United Nations. So as there's been talks about CSW revitalization. If you haven't followed that process, definitely take a look at it. It is expected with, changing political situations in the United States as well as funding cuts that the Commission on the Status of Women will rotate locations. So most of UN Women's headquarters has shut down here in New York. They have a skeletal staff, and most of their staff has moved to Nairobi, again due to changes in funding costs and political climates. It is expected that the CSW will rotate locations. I think that the review year has every 5th year is a review year, and the next one is expected to be in an alternate location. I believe Nairobi has been looked at. It's also a testing time for those of us in civil society spaces for civil society within the United Nations and all of the convening bodies, such as the Commission on the Status of Women, are shrinking. It's become more challenging to engage there. As we know, this year, the Commission on the Status of Women is vastly different. The agreed conclusions, which is, the outcome document from the 2 weeks of negotiations, is set to be released prior to the commission starting. So that has limited civil society's ability to negotiate and to advocate for the changes they would like to see. That's all done in advance this year. Whether or not that will continue in years to come remains to be seen. But times are changing. Um, there's also through the discussions on CSW revitalization, there's been you know some talks of a merger between UN Women and UNFPA, which is the United Nations Population Fund. Many people disagree, especially those in the gender equality realm, that this will dilute the work of UN Women. So lots of things there to discuss. The future of CSW is very much in the air, and things are changing as time goes on. So this year's CSW70 priority and review themes, as you can see, are up on the board each year. There is a priority theme which centers the work that's done during the Commission on the Status of Women, and a review theme to go over items from the past. So this year's priority theme is ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls. As you can see, that's pretty vague, encompasses lots of work. And then the review theme is women's full and effective participation in decision making in public life, as well as the elimination of violence for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls, which comes from the agreed conclusions of the 65th session. At this time, we're going to move into the difference between CSW and the NGO CSW Forum. So, as many of you know, the official CSW, as we just discussed, happens at the United Nations. The NGO CSW Forum happens offsite, and it involves more of civil society. So I am so proud to serve as an executive committee member for the NGO CSW of New York, as a representative for the International Federation of Business and Professional Women. So very happy to pass on any information to all of our members that I hear of. So a bit of a difference between main UNCSW and the NGO-CSW Forum. The UNCSW is the official United Nations Commission, and it happens at the UN headquarters. It's coordinated by UN Women, and they host official side events organized by UN agencies, member states, and sometimes in collaboration with civil society organizations. Last year, we hosted an official side event with the permanent mission of Malaysia, I want to say. Yes. So that event list is available. I believe Joe Kinsey actually placed that into one of the WhatsApp groups there yesterday. So thank you, Joe. It's available on the UN, the CSW website. So go on there. And those events, again, are in person and in the UN headquarters. During the UNCSW, as we just discussed, there's an outcome documented. The outcome document, the agreed conclusions, those are negotiated by member states. And only ECOSOC accredited organizations can officially register to attend UNCSW or the official CSW. If you're going to any of those events, please register in advance. Space does fill up, and there are lists to get into any of those events. Shifting gears and talking a bit about the NGO CSW Forum. NGO CSW is a coalition of groups that are focused on gender equality. The main one is the NGO CSW New York, and they host the forum during CSW. There are also regional CSW, NGO CSWs in Latin America. I think there's one in Geneva, Africa, and in Asia. I'm not, I don't know the locations off the top of my head right now. But again, with the discussions of CSW revitalization, there's some speculation that perhaps those regional NGO CSWs will step up and convene the forum side of the CSW. So, the NGO CSW Forum is the civil society gathering of parallel events. So, official UN CSW or side events, NGO CSW are going to be your parallel events. These are organized by civil society, and anyone is welcome to host an event. These parallel events are either in person, virtual, or hybrid. And the recommendations prepared by civil society are included in the CSW. They are presented to member states to hopefully influence the outcome document for CSW. NGO CSW Forum is free and open to the public, and registration is open. I'll talk more about that in just a second. Throughout the 2 weeks of CSW, the NGO CSW Forum has a multitude of events. As you can see here on the screen, we have our official orientation this Friday. It's going to be at 8 a.m. Eastern, so that's 2 p.m. UTC. Apologies if my math is off on that one, but it will begin at 8 o'clock Eastern. Consultation Day is on March 8th, International Women's Day. That's going to be a virtual event from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The networking reception is a ticketed event. It is on March 10th, the Tuesday at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Please do buy those in advance because the space is limited. There's also NGO briefings that will happen, the first, or civil society briefings rather. Those are going to be, there's two of them in person. The first one is going to be on Wednesday, the 11th. The second one is on Tuesday, the 17th. The first one is going to be on the negotiations and agreed conclusions, and the second one is on the UN80 processes and initiatives. I will get back to you on the times for those, and they will also be posted online. There will also be 2 virtual briefings. The Artisan Fair is back, so that is going to be held at the Church Center on the 11th. So please stop by and buy your all your wares from our artisans. There will be regional caucuses, conversation circles, and then, of course, the parallel events that are happening throughout those 2 weeks. Please check the UN NGOCSW.org website for all of the dates and information. Show up at the orientation this Friday where you'll get the most up-to-date information, and then the consultation day there on the 8th. So as I mentioned, registration is open for the virtual forum. This is what the Whova platform looks like. This is the convening space for the all of the parallel events. So in order to get on here, you're going to register via the link on NGO CSW. You'll create, if you don't already have an account on Whova, you'll go on there or create an account and then register for this event. And then from there, you can see all of the events that are available to attend. Build out your agenda for the week. There are hundreds of events in here, so please take a look. And again, if you have any questions about that, there will be time at the end of this session for questions and answers, so you can join us then. We will have a number of events hosted by the International Federation of Business and Professional Women and affiliate chapters. Here are a few of them throughout the week. Again, once you're on the Whova platform, you can go in and search for an organizer, so feel free to do that. Um, I'll just give you a moment to take a look at this and take a picture or jot anything down that you want to view. And then moving on. Oh, I finally get to stop talking. I'm going to pass it over to Nermeen Ahmad, the president of BPW New York City, to talk about types of participation at the summit. Please, Nermeen.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily, and thank you for such a comprehensive presentation. I'm going to change speed a bit. I'm not going to read from my slides as much as I'm going to try and give some important information that I think we should all internalize. As Emily noted, civil society space is shrinking, and our fears about coming to New York City do not help. At the UN conferences I attended early in February, the space for civil society, they had room for about 100 people. Only 6 people were there. A lot of people were nervous about coming to the UN and were asking really what I found strange questions. Can I rush the United Nations and ask people to show their ID cards? The UN has its own police force. The UN is fairly well secured behind gates all around it. When you're in the UN, you're in international territory. And when you're around the UN, you're protected by the New York Police Department, who are your friend, because New York City is a sanctuary city, and it's not a city where we would expect people to fear being harassed. And you should feel comfortable going to a New York City police person and asking for assistance. I just wanted to get that out of the way. We're not going to attend CSW70 in order just to be seen and take photographs of ourselves at the UN. It is really important to prepare for your trip to New York, to take a look at Hoover, look at the talks that are going on, target who you wish to meet, what organizations you wish to create linkages with, prepare your message, and then find out where the people will be in person and do your best to go ahead and meet them, share a moment with them. If you have a business card or if you have a piece of paper on which your key points are written, that's even better. There is something called the Blue Book, which lists everyone who is officially working at the United Nations. Check the Blue Book in the areas that interest you, your country, your region, and the specialized agencies. At the last CSW, somebody actually ran into their first cousin that they hadn't realized was working at one of the missions. That's a very useful connection because that gets you invited to side events. You could get mission accreditation, which allows you to access many more events than NGO accreditation. So take a look at country delegates through the Blue Book, UN representatives through the Blue Book, and then other civil society organization representatives through Hoover. Our job is to work across the board and get our message across, whatever our regional, our country, or our organization-wide message is. We want to be able to provide it to people, make sure it's top of mind. We are one of the very, very few organizations that works for business and for professional women. I'm going to say it one more time. We have to push for change. The UN is in shambles. We need to get more CSO space at the UN, and we need to ensure that somebody speaks up for the rights of business and professional women. This does mean networking, not with each other, but with everyone else, communicating, sharing contact information, and following up. following up is critical because many projects have disappeared as organizations have had to cut back, have had to become smaller, and we might be able to step in with other CSOs to help ensure that valuable projects keep getting the resources that they need. Could I have the next slide, Emily? As I've just said, communicate, find people, use the Hoover app, use the BPW WhatsApp groups to decide to meet with each other outside the United Nations, have dinner together, have lunch together. There are a lot of restaurants in the wider area. There is a security screening at the UN, so consider minimizing what you carry when you go into the UN. Wear comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking 10 to 15 to 20,000 steps on slippery, hard floors with long corridors. It's important to remember you're an ambassador for IFBPW and your club. We're here to collect actions that BPW can support, engage with, and consider. And I am repeating myself because I really want to hit this home. The UN is all about networking, meeting and talking to anyone and everyone to see if there's any way to collaborate and strengthen impact, build projects together, exchange ideas. I feel very strongly that CSW is not an event that you say, oh, I went to CSW. It's a working event which augments benefits for business and professional women everywhere, anywhere. And I really urge you to take time to do research, know your national, regional, and civil society reports, understand the outcome documents from the past CSW 68 and 69, and the already prepared one for CSW 70. That is critical because that's what we need to try and align with, or what we need to encourage people to consider changing if we don't see sufficient material for business and professional women. It's incredibly easy to get tired at the UN because we're not all going to be in the UN. Most parallel events that are in person are going to be at the church center or in other buildings immediately around, like the Salvation Army auditorium. We're going to be running around on the streets. I know the week before CSW is supposed to be warm and then it's supposed to become cold again. Francesca is going to give us the tips that we need for what to wear and everything, but New York City is a temperamental city. It can go from incredibly hot to incredibly cold really quickly. The reason New York working women wear running shoes is to protect our legs. We carry our high heels in our handbag, and we don't use them if we don't have to. May I have the next slide? Usually what we've done is submitted red line and non-negotiable comments on the zero draft. We can't do that because the outcome document has already been voted upon. But we've seen that being silent does nothing for women. It is up to us to hold governments accountable, even if to conclusions that they've made that they didn't let us participate in. We need to make sure that they know our concerns for business and professional women, and they need to know that we're not going to go away. This is an opportunity to build relationships with your own government. Remember, if you speak with a government representative for your country, they need to write a contact report, and this opens the door for you to begin to create a relationship. Don't waste their time, but give them some really good ideas. I cannot tell you how often we've heard from representatives at the UN, thank you for talking to us. Having civil society tell us what they're looking for allows us to really give our government information that's critical, that's useful to them. Raise awareness of key concerns that are on your website, platforms, and articles. Again, silence moves nothing. And if you can take the time to really understand the outcome document, consistently reference the gains and the gaps that you see in that outcome document with respect to your part of the world. If you want to conduct a mission visit, you should plan it in advance. And Eva Richter, who's a long-time New York member, and I have created a video on how to talk to permanent missions and how to get information across to them. I'm happy to make that available to you. Emily, I think that does me.
Thank you so much, Nermeen, for going over how to make the most of your time at CSW. Again, there's a question and answer session at the end of today's presentation, so please utilize that time to ask more in-depth questions on how to maximize your time at the forum. I'm now going to ask Jenny Lind, Dr. Jenny Lind, to come up and discuss the IFBPW statement for the 70th session on the Commission on the Status of Women. All NGOs are able to submit these documents, and Jenny is going to speak a little bit more about that. So Jenny, please, if you would.
Thank you so much, Emily. Please, everybody call me Jen. It's nice to see all of the sisters online on a Sunday. It's a bright Sunday morning, well, afternoon here in Spain. So I'd like to briefly present to you IFBPW's position for the 70th session of the UN CSW70. For your information, this was formally submitted as a written statement last October, because the deadline was last year, for the succeeding year. And of course, we are responding to the priority theme, ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls. This statement is now part of the official UN documentation for CSW70 and will be circulated to member states as they negotiate the agreed conclusions in New York. So our core message, which is of course gone through the process of consultations and endorsed by our VP for UN and approved by, of course, our international president. It's very simple, but of course powerful. It's that justice, equality, and peace are inseparable. And you see a snapshot of our statement there. So without affordable, accessible, and survivor-centered justice systems, discrimination persists. And women cannot fully participate in economic life, in leadership or governance if legal systems remain complex, costly, or biased. So we emphasize in the statement that access to justice is not only a legal issue, it is also an economic and peace-building issue. And we're very happy that the Leadership Summit really reflects and really has a lot of action-oriented sessions on peace building as well, and especially looking at the role of women in peace building. So we, in our statement, we focus as well on the initiatives of the clubs and the different BPW local clubs and affiliates. So, for example, our mentoring and leadership initiatives, we mentioned it in the statement, our women's entrepreneurship and trade programs, our equal pay campaigns, our engagement with the women's empowerment principles, and our newly created Peace Task Force, and of course, our commitment to the UN Security Council Resolution 1325. And at the latter part of the statement, we call on member states to reform discriminatory law and practices, invest in accessible, innovation-driven justice systems, ensure women's equal representation in judicial and decision-making bodies, and strengthen accountability mechanism and gender disaggregated data. So from here on, we are also requesting to have the floor to be represented by our president, and if she's not available, of course, our VP for UN. So we have asked to take the floor orally during CSW70 to share these our written statement. If granted, this will allow BPW to reinforce our key messages directly to member states and, of course, whoever the NGOs that are represented as well, and visibly position our network within the diplomatic process. So taking the floor, of course, matters. We've done it before because it ensures the BPW's nearly century long, as Francesca reminded us, legacy of advancing women's economic independence, leadership, and equality, which continues to inform, of course, globally policymaking at the highest level. So BPW enters CSW70 not only as a historic partner of the United Nations, but also and hopefully with all of the changes happening in the UN system, an active and solution-oriented global network committed to translating justice into women's empowerment and empowerment, of course, into sustainable peace. If you have any comments or suggestions moving forward on how we can activate as well our statement, please let us know. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for going over that. If you haven't already, please review our statement so that you know what we are advocating for during CSW. Very important to read up on that. And I see that Cecilia has been putting the links in the chat. Thank you so much, Cecilia. That is wonderful. This is just a screenshot of the statement, so please do go on and take a look at that. I believe Susan O'Malley, our main UN rep here in New York City, helped coordinate this. So if hopefully in the future we'll have meetings to discuss, what we want to see in this document and some working meetings on that. Excellent. Thank you, Jenny. Following up, we have Francesca again. She's going to talk about, as a lifelong New Yorker, she'll talk about what to expect while you are in New York City. Please, Francesca. Francesca, you are muted.
Thank you. Nothing like talking to yourself. I just wanted to mention before I talk about New York City as a city that it's important that our delegates wear our scarves during CSW, and not just the delegates, but all of our members. If you don't have a scarf, they will be on sale at the Leaders Summit along with our pins. And I will have brochures with me if you would like to have a BPW brochure. A BPW, this is what I do with the card. I pin my card to our brochure, which is a really great brochure, and it talks about the benefits, etc. And so I hand these out during CSW and anywhere else I meet people on the street, whatever. So those are two things that I highly recommend it. It's expected by BPW International that you do wear the scarf. And I will be available with brochures if you WhatsApp me and tell me where you'll be. We can make a meeting place for you to pick up brochures, and you can also take them home with you and hand them out, in your clubs and federations. So just let me know. I have hundreds of them that I'm willing to share. So I just wanted to mention also that I did get in touch with Susan O'Malley. She apologized 1,000 times. I told her once was enough, but she couldn't get on. She had no volume, no audio, and she apologized profusely. She'll be around during CSW if you would like to speak to her. She's available and she's very approachable. So I want to talk to you about New York City. New York City is, I'm sorry, but it's the best city in the world. And it is primarily a very safe place. As Nermeen said, we have a fabulous New York City police department. But in addition to them, you will see all kinds of federal protection agencies, the anti-terrorism federal agency will be in force all over the UN area to protect all of the officials that are coming to these meetings. And we've never had an incident during CSW with anything. And I'm crossing my fingers and praying that no lunatic shows up anywhere. But I must tell you that it is one of the safest places to be during CSW. So, and just be very polite to all of them, and they will be so polite back to you. So next screen, please. Fabulous photo, isn't it? So, can I have the next screen, please, Susan? All right. So here's the anticipated weather for New York City. It's supposed to be 40 to 55 degrees, which is 4 to 13 degrees centigrade. Center. I want to say cent. You know what I'm trying to say. Layered attire is really important. Sometimes you may get a temperature hotter than that, or sometimes you may get a temperature lower than that. Please remember that you do represent not only yourself, but you're an ambassador for BPW during these 2 weeks or however long you're here. And it's important that you wear comfortable shoes, but that you also show up looking like the professional woman you are. Nice clothes. Jeans are really not appropriate during CSW. So please take all of that into consideration. I always recommend to bring an umbrella, a small travel one, even though there's no rain in the forecast. And network, network, network. For those of you, if it's your first time, my first time, I was so exhausted by the end of the first day because I went to an event for every time slot there was. I highly recommend that you do 2, maybe 3, and then take a break. Hook up with somebody and go have a coffee. There's this great place on 2nd Avenue called Remy. It is very close to the UN, and it is such a beautiful place. They sell flowers, so you're surrounded by all these beautiful flowers. They have great coffee. There's the Smith, which is a little further up on 2nd Avenue. They have coffee there during the day. They also sell lunch. Sometimes they can be a little pricey. And if you want to get out of the area and have wonderful coffee, Ralph's is on East 72nd Street and Madison Avenue. It's Ralph Lauren's place, and they have great coffee and other kinds of drinks. If you're looking for atriums, there's one on 601 Lexington Avenue. It's around 53rd Street. It used to be called Citicorp Center. I guess they didn't pay enough money now to have it named for them. And there's a private building that has an atrium that the public is allowed to use, and that's at 333 East 46th Street, which is just a couple of blocks from the UN, 1 block really from the UN. And of course, in the evening, you have Broadway, you have Lincoln Center, you have jazz, there's Bryant Park, and on Broadway and West 47th Street, there is TKS where you can get tickets for half price. Tipping in New York City, usually people leave 15 or 18% as a tip. And if you just double the tax on your bill, that's enough of a tip. The thing about New York City is if you walk around confidently, not looking down and, hunch your shoulders and all of that, people aren't out to get you. And most times, as I said, during CSW, nothing happens that to individuals. I do not recommend that you be on the subway after 8 p.m. without somebody else. Just because people who ride the subway alone, if there's somebody that's looking for trouble, then they target people that are alone. If there are 2 of you or more, you're good. And the subway is really the best way to get around. And I'm going to tell you more about that. Oh, and one last thing, New York is a very walkable city. So if you put on sneakers or, comfortable shoes, you could walk any place. Next slide, please. So I'm going to get into the subway system and some of the apps that you should consider. We used to have Metro cards. We no longer have a Metro card. So if you have one in your possession, I'm sorry to say that you can't use it, and I'm not sure that you can get any money back on your Metro card. But there is the MTA is the government agency for our transportation system, and this is their app. You can download their app. You can apply to for free. You could apply to get updates on things that are happening. They will send you information if there's a problem, a delay on a train, or whatever. The train is at Grand Central Station at between Lexington and Park Avenue on East 42nd Street, which is just 3 blocks, 2.5, 3 blocks from the hotel, the Westgate Hotel. It's $2.90 per ride. We're open 24 hours a day, every day, buses, subways, which you probably call metros. If you have a credit card where you're not going to be charged foreign fees, then you can just use your credit card. There are turnstiles where you just tap your card and go. If you do 12 rides in 7 days, then you ride for free. If your credit card does have foreign transaction fees, then there is an OmniCard option. They charge $5 for the card, and that's non-refundable. And then you load as much money on it as you want. For more information and to get one of those, here's the online URL for that. Of course, there are car services. We have Revel. How many? Speaking of transportation, how many of you are familiar with Revel? Revel. They're blue cars. Do you have them in your countries? These are sustainable cars. Too bad Siri's not here, our chair of sustainable development. She'd love this. So that is always my first choice. They are like Uber, Lyft. We have yellow taxis, and there's an app for them called Curb. So if you look up Curb, you can call a yellow taxi also. So here, Manhattan is walkable 20 blocks equals 1 mile or 1.61 kilometers. So there's a group that forms at the Westgate that meets in the lobby like at 6 a.m. if you're a runner. They love to go running. So that's also an option. And if you're not going to use the subway after 8 p.m., there's lots of bus transportation. And when you go to Grand Central, you could go uptown, downtown, east side, west side. And Manhattan is like a grid. Fifth Avenue, one side of Fifth Avenue is east side, and the other side of Fifth Avenue is the west side. So that's about it. Let me just make sure I have covered everything. Oh, did I tell you about wearing a mid-weight light coat and a scarf and bring gloves? Okay, let me just see if there's anything. That's about it. So New York moves quickly. As those of you who have been here before, we have a lot of energy. You will find that the one thing in New York is that you feel the energy, and it's so invigorating. It might feel exhausting if you're not used to it, but as I said, just take time and get yourself a cup of coffee, meet up with somebody that you want to meet with, say, hey, come on, let's have coffee. Get out of the UN building, really. And welcome to New York. Welcome to all of the possibilities. And remember, you are an ambassador. While you're here, you're the ambassador for BPW International. When you go home, you are the ambassador to follow up with your club. Get on the agenda and talk to your club at a meeting about everything that you learned. Be a sponge, soak it all up and then share it. Share it with everyone you know, because we need to make sure that women are not forgotten, that we are bold in our approach without being offensive, but be bold, be fearless, speak up. Not only take your seat at the table, but have a voice there also. So if you get into trouble, I'm going to put my, trouble meaning you're lost, something happens, you're not sure what to do or where to go. I'm going to put my WhatsApp in the chat box. Please feel free to contact me. If you think I might be asleep, contact me anyway, because I turn off my phone when I go to
Mhm.
sleep. I really appreciate my sleep.
Thank you,
So
Francesca.
that's it.
Thank you.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
appreciate that. Yeah, and so Francesca will put her information in the chat. Also, our president of New York City, Nermeen Ahmad, has also put her information in the chat. You've got me on WhatsApp. Lots of resident New Yorkers here that you can reach out to. Happy to steer you in the right direction or answer any questions. Um, we are actually expecting a blizzard here today, so the weather in New York changes very fast. Dress in layers, wear comfortable shoes, and if there's any specific questions that you have, please let us know. Here's a lovely photo of the United Nations headquarters where we will see you all very soon. Um, and then following up, just before we move into the question and answer portion of today, here are some links for some more information. We've got our BPW International page. This is the page for the NGO CSW parallel events. We've got our official side events on here, unwomen.org, CSW70. This is the list of the official meetings for the CSW, and then, of course, the UN Web TV. You can also follow up with your local clubs for more information. I will make the PowerPoint slides of this meeting available for anyone so that you can get that information as well as the recording. You've also, got all of our information on WhatsApp and email, so feel free to reach out there. We had a change in our programming today, and our Vice President of United Nations spoke at the beginning. Nalima, were there any items you wanted to follow up on before we move to question and answer?
I would like to add some more
Sure.
because I had prepared for the closing. So I want to thank all the UN reps. We have Susan O'Malley, who's our main UN rep. We have Emily, who is in the NGO CSW committee. Then we have Nermin, who is in the migration committee of the UN. And we have Francesca Burak, our second vice president. And we have Yashmin Darwich. We have Judy and Tesmato. They will not be present during this leader summit and CSW because they are out of New York for now. And another thing, the major role that we have to do, everyone who's going to New York right now, is to get in touch with your government delegation and also to the to other NGOs, from your country who's going, so that you are there united. If something happens, then your country, needs to know what's happening to you. And also, one of the thing is every country has permanent, mission around in UN. So please try to figure it out how you can get in touch with your permanent mission of your country, because your country representatives will be the person who will be representing your country inside the United Nations. That's where the major, discussion takes place. We as an NGO, we do have side events and virtual events, but it's the member states who actually has to, are the ones who are making all the progress inside the UN. And any one of us, who knows that our BPW member is attending as as a government delegation, please make sure that you get in touch with them so that we can also get the highlights about what is going on with the government level. As though we all know that the, uh, zero draft is, being prepared ahead of CSW. That is one of the reasons why many people are not interested to attend CSW this time. But one of the things is that we have to be part of our country delegation, representing BPW as well as representing your country as well. And another thing is there are, physical events, very few physical events, parallel events this year. There is from Canada, USA, Taiwan, Australia, and Asia Pacific. But we have one major one from BPW International, which we were able to, get it together this year. Is we are able to get the president of Zonta, Sorov Mystic, graduate women, all this big organization who were part of Project 50 in the past, but now it has turned into Project 20 because there is only two organizations left. We are bringing all those president in a one panel organized by BPW International. So this was the physical panel that's taking place. Another one is the virtual one, which was recently approved, and I have reached out to all the regional coordinators to send out the recommendation of the panelists that will represent their region. So it's not like there will be 10 people recommended from one country, one region, but one person that will be approved by the regional coordinator. So if you don't see your name there as a panelist, I hope you understand why that is happening. And also, the deadline for the virtual one is tomorrow, 23rd of February. And, last time there were many standing committees and other, countries who were applying for it. But this year, there are really few of them. They have applied. So this is some of the things. And another thing that I would like to say is, yes, we all are going to CSW New York. I don't think all of us here, but every one of us who are going to New York, maybe next year we will not meet for CSW as it is going to Nairobi. And another thing is that CSW is not the only major event that we as a BPW international members need to attend, because there are other events happening throughout the year. If you are in Europe, around April, there is a sustainable development forum that's taking place in UN Geneva, and BPW International UN representatives of Geneva is organizing a side event inside the UN this April. Similarly, in UN Geneva, Vienna, we have during the Commission of Drugs and Narcotics, we are organizing a side event there as well. So it is not that everybody has to go to New York for CSW, but you can still attend the event in Geneva, Vienna, and Paris, because BPW representatives there are organizing events. So these are some of the highlights that I would like to present. And also, I would like to say to every one of us who are actually going to New York, uh, make sure that you are aware of the BPW events happening. And it's not like all the BPW members need to fill the space. We need to, leave some space for other organization members to come and listen to us as well. But especially the BPW International one, I'd like to request you bring along your friends and everyone. And like Francesca said, that when we are giving our brochures to other people, sometimes, uh, they get interested to be a part of it. And that is how we bring the new members as well. And I have been very successful with that in different UN events when I went there. I have brought members from different parts of the world and connected them to the different country presidents. And yes, it's true that they don't stay there forever, but some of them have done very well. So let's not just attend, but bring more members in as well. And with that, I want to thank Emily for taking the lead on this, because last year when I was doing it, I just realized that we have all this regional pre and pre and post consultation that we have within BPW, but our UN representatives are not included. And this time, I wanted to give it the role to the UN representatives of New York for making it so well organized. And yes, and to Jenny, who is here, during the CSW, as you know, that BPW has only 20 passes, we were able to give to the people who were nominated by the regional coordinator. And we only got 4 or 5 extra passes this year, because I didn't try that hard, because it was very tough for me to ask for passes, because some of the people who got the passes from those organizations last time did not submit the report. And every time when you get the pass from any organization, if you don't submit the report, they don't give us the passes. So everyone who's attending with any, with BPW pass, please make sure that you report back to us after the event. And finally, one of the thing about, the regional meeting that takes place, I think that is where you have to make sure that you get connected to the regional chair, because for Asia Pacific, it is our BPW member, Carol Shaw from Australia, who was actually present at the regional consultation that took place for CSW last few weeks back. And these are the people who actually are working you know, with the government, also with all the civil society. So I'll list out in the WhatsApp group of the CSW70 all the regional main head for the CSW. So please reach out to them, get to know them, and understand that, and also be part of whatever they are doing. So thank you, Emily, and everyone, and hopefully we'll also meet for the debriefing as well. So thank you very much, Emily. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nalima. Great reminders there. Yes, please write your reports after attending these events. Report back to your clubs, your countries, your states, wherever you are. Spread that information, and then join us for our debriefing of NGOC or from CSW. Time and date to be determined. At this time, we went a little over on our programming, but we do have about 11 minutes for questions. If anyone has questions, I'm going to take down the share screen and we can see if there's any questions. I know there's been a lot of them were answered in the chat, but if you have any specific questions, yes, of course, please use the raise hand feature. Stick them in the chat and we will get to you. Please, Marie Claude, I see your hand first, and then we'll pass it to Joe.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. I'm sorry I won't come this time, but I'm not very happy with what's going on at the UN and with Trump. So maybe this time I said I won't go, but I will miss you, of course. But I'm sure you will as good as usual in advocating for BPW and for women. I just wanted to focus again on peace. So clearly, there's nothing on the website on the task force. And also, I tried to register for the group of CSW for peace, and but maybe it has not been created as yet, or it hasn't begun. Do you know anything about it, Emily?
I'm not sure as far as the BPW group on peace. Do we, from the international, thanks, Nalima, could you take that?
Among all the task force that we have task force on peace, and she is from Korea. Mary Claude, I'll connect to her because I think they have already recruited members in their task force. So I'll just send you in the WhatsApp group. Is that okay? The
Yes,
contact
I
of
know her indeed because I met her several times, in Korea. So I know her. But yes, it's just because, I'm also co-organizing, events on peace at UNESCO with a collective of NGOs. So of course, this is part of our advocacy. And I try to get somebody from BPW on the panel and this is supposed to be maybe in Seville this time, and last time it was in Rabat, and the year before it was at UNESCO headquarters. And yeah, well, yes, I also wanted to ask Emily about the CSW Task Force on Peace or group. It's a working group because I'm
Yeah.
connected with them, but I just wanted to know whether it has begun or not because I can't access the documents.
Yes. So the NGO CSW Working Group on Peace, I know the co-chairs of that group, so I will definitely connect you. I know
Thank
they've been coordinating some events, but yeah, I'll get you guys
you.
connected by email. Yeah, because Women in Peace is very important.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Marie Claude. Yes, Joe, if Joanne Kinsey, if you wanted to, go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much for the security things that you've talked about. One of the discussions we've had within UK civil society are the immigration process. Many of us are quite vocal in our views, and I do have my Esther, so I haven't had to reapply for another one. But some of the people have been worried about their Esther and the possibility of our social media being checked as we come in. I wonder whether you have any view on this at all, please, or experience.
Go ahead, Nermeen. Thank you.
I just saw on the news today that all the expedited entry into the United States has been halted temporarily. So people who have, the e-visas that can go in quickly now will have to stand in line. Yes, they are looking at people's phones. And yes, they have the right to ask you for your phone, and they can keep it for 72 hours. They ask you for the passwords to your social media sites. Some people say, oh, just bring a burner phone, it won't have anything on there. They actually are asking for passwords to social media sites. I've really recommended to people, depending where they come from in the world, to consider shutting down some of their social media